Good evening, good afternoon, and good night to some. Happy to be with you. We're not going to take up much of your time. As you know, as well as I know, this is the end of the month, June. And there are those that are now in the middle of their winter. Some are headed into their spring. Some are headed into their fall. And some are dealing with their summer. So how do you deal with that? So this morning, I'm going to give us a few pointers. And of course, it'll be out of Psalm 61 stanza 10, but I'm going to talk to you about some of the characteristics that may have been missing or some of the things that has to be aware when David went before the Lord after he had personal challenges and challenges as a leader. It became to the point that David said, "Create in me." So I want to talk about opportunity awaits. David knew that there was something in what he was doing. There was something greater than him. And maybe he was holding back his opportunity with his approach, with his mindset. So number one, if you're writing today, we have about 8 things we want to share with you. And that would be some things that will help you, because the number 7 means perfection. So here's what it really means. There are some things in your life that you have been dragging. Some you have been carrying, some you have been hiding, some you have been holding. And this is a time to perfect those strengths that you have and to perfect things that will help you be successful to the end of the year. Okay, so let's look at it this way. David said, "Create in me." And so he asked for a new heart, a new mind, a new spirit. He asked God to let me stay in your presence. And please don't take what you've given to me away. So this is what I want to use this angle, is strengthening your strengths. So the first thing is your mindset. One of the first things you got to do is start taking out the trash. You know why? Many people have been negative. Many people have planted seeds, and you've seen people fighting and struggling for various things, or to be ahead, or to think he or she is at this point or that point. And it you kind of feel like you need to do that. And I'm here this morning to tell you, you don't. And I had a wonderful thing, and I see some of my virtual campus, I like to say connections and partners, chimed in. They came down and was in an event with us, and I see they're on this morning, and I am gracious and thankful for all of them for coming in and participating and just hanging out this weekend. And one particular one said this to me. They said, "What about purpose? I heard and saw you teach something on purpose." So the month of July, we're going to deal with perfecting your purpose. Now, here's what happens. You first have to discover your purpose. Then you have to be purpose driven. But many people get purpose and destiny mixed up. Your purpose will lead to your destiny. Before your purpose, you have potential. Before your potential, you have dreams. Before your dreams, you have ideas. And before your ideas, you get thoughts. And so what happens is society, as I said before, when doors are going to come open and opportunity awaits, you're carrying what can't go with you. And so people say, well, then why is it there? It's there to drag you back. It's there to get you focused on things that have nothing to do with where you're going. What does that mean? All the attention that the adversary wants you to think about is where you've been, not where you're going. And so you saw what happened the last time. You saw what the group did the last time. You saw what the company did the last time. So it creates what I call a reaction before the event happens. So we have to, so that's one of the things that David was talking about, was I need to rearrange and reestablish my mindset. Now, why is that significant? Because what was important to others is not important to you, and what's important to you has nothing to do with others. This early, this morning, yes. You are your own person. People are trying to go where they're not assigned. And if you are, quit looking back, because you're at your Red Sea. There are things in people that you will not see, and truly, it's not that they're better or you're better. It's just that you're on different levels, and you have to see yourself there. So David knew his behavior, his culture that he had saw cannot be his culture that he has now. So one of the first things you have to do, and I'm doing it myself, is adjusting our mindset. Number one. When you adjust your mindset, here's the second thing that happens. Your language begins to change. See, you've spoke what the colonizers, you've spoken what your environment, you've spoken, and I don't like this title, the hood, you've spoken what your family has spoken, but that may not be your language. That's just where you are. And so you speak the language of the people that you are, but when you're being elevated and opportunity presents itself, you have to speak the language of where you're going. And when you speak that language, your current environment will shift because they can't speak that language. And so then there's a little bit of what we call anxiety in the separation because you're literally growing before those who cannot go. And anytime that you begin to get your thoughts, you get your ideas, you begin to get your visions and dreams, and it starts to lead to your potential began to lead to purpose, it's actually a separation. It doesn't mean that you don't associate. It means that you don't live where you've been. So your language have to change. You can't take that into a business and grow a business talking the way people talk that are not progressing in their life. So first, mindset. Second is language. Third is behavior. You can't go to the next opportunity looking like you're going to have on some MC Hammer pants. You can't expect greatness and give less. So your behavior, now here's the point. What David was going through was having to undress in front of the people that he was leading. David also had to be dressed in front of the people that he was leading. So can you imagine having your haters, having your so-called acquaintances, having your friends, having your enemies all see you go from a caterpillar to a butterfly? Because biblically the text says, and David went on and grew great. But David had significant value in his discussion with God that he would not lose his place while he was in his place of development. People think being exposed in their weaknesses causes them challenges. No, it's a part of your development. And many times people are going to see. And why would God let them see? Because what God is showing them is him and not you. Because none of us have the power to change ourselves to meet our destiny. This is the whole purpose of the Lord Jesus Christ. And the problem is, and I'm guilty too. Now listen, don't think I come in here with no angel wings on. I don't. I had to realize, and realizing where you're going is offensive to people. Well, why? They don't control your destiny. And your purpose is not their purpose. So now, once you start developing and restructuring your mindset and your language begins to change, then your behavior, which means your actions, will not be what they were. So I am developing. I cannot respond from all the frustration that I've had to deal with. Can't do it. Because then I take myself off of the path that God has set up for me. And your path is not like your friend's path or your neighbor's path. You have to follow the path. So it's almost like, yes, you're walking along, but no, God is developing you. And in some phases of it, like winter, well, like fall, winter, spring, and summer, in certain phases, God is pulling certain things off of you. And in certain phases, God is adding things, and he does not add them physically. He adds them spiritually, and then you respond to them naturally. Think about that. Little thing this morning. You have to be open to having a new approach. If you're approaching everything the way it was because it worked then and it worked on them, your next step may be summer before spring, but you still have on a thick coat like it's -6 degrees and it's not. You have to get yourself prepared for where you're going. The next one is open to adjustments. And your approach and your adjustment is critical because the door opens with the right heart and the right mindset and the right approach and the right language and the right mindset and behavior. Now, here's what's critical. As the door creeps open, because many of us have been waiting so long, we are quick to jump out there and do something. Very quick. Here's the thing I've learned. I was talking to what I call one of my seasoned mothers. I lost my grandmother years ago, and she has been awesome. She hasn't been my grandmother, but she has been awesome. Watch this, for my spirit. There's some people that you're going to be around, and many of them call them mentors, C-suite leaders. There are people who God will send in your life to season you. And I told, her name is Bishop Dolores Young. She's out of Hardyville, South Carolina. And I told her, I said, I'm like a raw piece of chicken. No seasoning, no flour. They just throw you in hot grease. And this is why many of us have failed, because you get an ideal and you just want to run out there and you're not seasoned. And when people who have been seasoned spiritually and people who have been seasoned in challenges, they're not there to put you down. You must remember this. You're never there. You're always a student. And students learn to listen. You shouldn't be telling people all that you've done and all that you're doing. You ain't done nothing. So I told her, I said, the reason that I'm with you is because I love your approach. I love your demeanor. And you season me just by talking to me. What does that mean? Many of us are a good product and a good brand and have wonderful ideas and have some potential, some substance, but we're not seasoned. We're trying to move before we're prepared. And I'm encouraging you, opportunity waits, but without preparation, opportunity will be missed or destroyed. And so I told her, and she laughed. She said, I said, so I'm like a raw piece of chicken. Hadn't even plucked the feathers and throw me in hot grease. And the first thing I'm going to do is swell up. I'm going to be burnt on the outside, bleeding on the inside, and I'm not going to be seasoned or tasteful for nothing. So while you think you're moving on the express train, you're not. Because if you're not seasoned, which means you understand the ins and outs and the language and the mindset of the people that you're going to, and if you don't have the right behavior and you're not open to adjustments, then you're going to fail again. And the first thing that the adversary tells you is God doesn't like you. This is why Psalms 51 stanza 10, I think, through 12 is so critical. Create in me. In other words, God, I need you to reframe, restructure all my senses so I can be what you designed me to be. I can go where you designed me to go. I don't need to go to destroy people. I need to go to develop people and to free people. Free them that they have the power to grow. Free them that they have the ability to build, because you stand on somebody's shoulders. I stand on somebody's shoulders, but we're all standing on God's shoulders. And he gave those principles by giving us the Bible. So now here's the thing. How are you approaching the next opportunity? With what you think, or what you've learned, what you've studied? Real examples. What is your approach as you go into July? To talk about everything that didn't happen in the last 6 months? Or to talk about the 2 things that did happen in the 6 months rather than your approach to how I'm going to finish the year. Finishing the year doesn't start in December. Finishing the year starts in perfecting the strengths that you have and not worried about those who have opinions. Opinions never pay the bill. They just are like cholesterol. They clog the arteries. So now, once you do that and listen to learn, here is one, and I'm almost there. Oh yeah, we're almost there. You may not have thought about this one, but it's critical. Eyes wide open. What does that mean? Your internal eyes and your internal ear are open. Watch this. Not for results, but for the nuggets and for the threads. What you're looking for is a huge response. What you need to look for are the threads, so now you can knit your quilts. You can knit your process. And so your needle is faith. Your thread is substance. And now you have to go to work. Nobody's bringing you. No delivery company, no FedEx, no UPS, no DHL, no whatever, United States Postal Service. None of them are going to deliver it to you. It's not showing up at your door. It's going to be birthed in your spirit. And you have to take faith and the little threads of the wise and the wisdom and the experience, and you're going to start knitting. Now, when you're doing this, there is no crowd. There are no cheerleaders. It's just you, your potential, your purpose, and your destiny. It is not sown by others. No one's going to open a door. Hey man, come on in. We're really ready for you. We have been. No. You're going to have to prepare to be there. And then here is the last one. It is time to move in grace. That attitude, that baking powder in your chest, you're not carrying your brand. You are light to those in darkness. And if you move in grace, you want a little secret? It is very difficult for the enemy to find you. If you move in arrogance, cockiness, and boldness, and to try to take a territory, now you have to fight an adversary who can see you. If you move in grace, then you have an army of mercy, an army of purpose, an army of love to support you as you push through. And what does that mean as I close? When the enemy finally finds your seat, you will be at the table that God had set up for you. This is why David said, there prepares the table, before me, because he came in now in grace. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So David's whole mindset, 1, language 2, behavior 3, open to adjustments 4, approach 5, listen to learn 6, eyes wide open. And then he moved in grace. Before this, David would have been fighting people, who he was supposed to lead. He would have been destroying people that he was supposed to guide. So when God prepares that move and he's setting up your development, it is not that you don't qualify. It's that you will move in you and not in grace. And when you move in grace, then no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Because your name is on the seat at that table. I'll see you around 10:15 to give you a couple more things as we set up going into perfecting our strengths and finding our purpose. And purpose is not your destiny. Purpose is the vehicle that takes you to your destiny. God bless you. I'll see you around 10:15. Have a great day.